All right, hello everyone, and peace of the Lord to all of you. I hope my voice coming good. Please let me know if you have any problem. Today, our topic about a Muslim. His name is Shahid. I'm an ex-Muslim lady. She sent me an email to Patreon today, a few hours ago, maybe 4 or 5 hours ago, something like that. And she said to me if I can talk about this person. I had never heard of him before, but I did little search. And this is today what we will do. Uh, for sure, I will not go into talk about every video he made, but we will, from what I just saw, obviously he is a donkey, certified one. And actually, I challenge him, if he dare, to prove to me that he's not a donkey, to call me. Actually, I'm going to use his own words to prove that he is a donkey. I'm not insulting. The Quran says, not me, that the similarity between those who carry books in their back and those who do not know how to read it is the same as an ass. So obviously, this person is an ass. He did not read. You know, he did not read his book. Are typing in English. You know, there is like these days, there's many people like Andrew Tits, and everyone he want to play with words, and supposedly he will show you that he's smart. But you know that will not work because simply you have to support what you say by what you believe. You know, in chapter 62, verse number 5, it says, the likeness of those who entrusted in the law of Moses. So Muhammad now is bashing the Jews as usual. Yet apply it not as the same as. By the way, translation is not accurate, but I will go with it. The same as the likeness of an ass carrying a books. Now, if we ask this guy, who is obviously for me, he looked like an ass carrying a book. I don't know if he carry it or he don't even have it at all. Did he even read his book? I'm going to prove to you that this idiot, he never read his book. He do not know what in his book from his own words. Capiche? And remember, I don't have time actually, you know, to look at his videos, but what I saw is very enough to prove that he is, you know, he is just a talker. You know, there's many talker, and those talkers, they play with words and they never answer a question you ask them, and I will show you example of that. So here we have a video of him. Let us see, where is the video? And if you don't mind, invite your friends. Obviously, many of you don't appreciate what we do. They are coming here just for entertainment and ha ha ha. If we go and we find this video here as an example, not limited. The video title is Shahid Bolsen on Judeo-Christian value. Judeo-Christian value. So this gentleman now, he will show you how funny is the Christian value and how he can answer that. Just wait. Play it again.
Judeo-Christian values is an oxymoron. I mean, it would be like if you called the NAACP and the KKK sister organizations. Look, Hitler didn't come from Baghdad. The Nazis weren't an anomaly in Western Christian European history. The Holocaust was a crescendo of anti-Jewish hatred that had been building in waves in Europe for centuries. Christians like to use the term Judeo-Christian because it obscures the vicious, relentless, long history that they have of anti-Jewish hatred. And Jews like to use the term because they're well aware of that history and they don't want to see it repeated. So it's an oxymoron, and everyone.
Okay, so the one who teach hate against the Jews, and he is a Nazi and he is a fascist, he is an oxymoron. But we know that Jesus in the cross, he says, forgive them, Father, they do not know what they are doing. So when you say you idiot, you speak about Christian Judeo values. Anyone who teach hatred is not practicing the teaching of Christ. Same time, if we go and do a little search, will take you not even a minute to find that the biggest brigade who do commit the Holocaust, or the Holocaust, whatever they call it, was Muslims. Muslims in the army of Hitler from Albania and Bosnia and Turkey and Arabia. They were in the front line to capture the Jews and to slaughter them. But when the Muhammadan, they want to talk about what happened to the Jews, suddenly the Muhammadan, they are the one who love the Jews. And soon we will go and see the oxymoron Muhammad who slaughtered every single Jew in Arabia. Is this your book? Let us show you. Hold on, give me a second, please. So what those people do, I noticed this guy, he dodged the question and he throw it back at you, But he will not acknowledge that if he is against Nazi and fascism, that Islam is nothing but a fascist Nazi cult. Believe that the Muslims are supremacist to anyone else. Therefore, they have the right to annihilate and kill and destroy any other ethnic group, because Muslims, they consider themselves one ethnic as a nation. Those are the Muslims. And the Imams, like Al-Imam Al-Husayni, he was the one in charge of, let us say, recruiting as many Muslims as Hitler he need. But remember, it's an oxymoron to say Christian, Judaic, civilization or value, because simply who is the one who built the hatred against the Jews? So how you say you have a value of a Christian Judaism, obviously you as a Christian Judo, value does not exist, simply you hate the Jews, you teach hatred against the Jews. So when we show them what they did, and why until now, actually, the pictures of Hitler, you go in the Middle East, you will find every single Muslim supporter of terrorism, he loved Hitler. I remember I used to see a bakery, a Muslim bakery, and the Hitler picture is in the top next to his father. I don't know who is Hitler. I was a kid with his funny mustache, and it was funny that he have such a flag, and those are Muslims. If you go right now, check, you will see the book. It's called Kifahi. Is printed only in the Middle East, sold legally in the Middle East, promoted in every Middle Eastern school. Read Kifahi. The organization of Hamas, the organization of Fatah, all of them, they give you a copy of Kifahi, which is the book of Hitler, for free. So if this is what make people oxymoron, let us check the oxymoron Muhammad. Shall we? This is your prophet teaching nothing but hatred against the Jews. And remember, the one who spread Nazist and fascist is an oxymoron. So we go to the Quran. The Quran called the Jews pigs, monkeys, the worst of the creatures, the most enemy hatred to the Muslims. I will type the word adawa only, which means enmity. See, I did not even type the word Jews. Adawa. What does this have to do with the Jews? Right away you will see. Enmity means Jews. Immediately. So you are talking about the Western in Europe, they are teaching enmity to the Jews, when all your religion is based on enmity to the Jews, the Christians, the Hindus, the Buddhists. Anyone is the Muslim is an enemy of Allah, we have to kill him. It says here, as an example, look at the culture of Muhammad, the oxymoron Muhammad, claiming that his God, he promote hatred between the Christians until the day of judgment. Now this guy, he is saying that an oxymoron only is the one who will believe that the Judeo-Christian value is good. Why? Because they are teaching hate against the Jews. But this is the God of Islam teaching here specifically hatred against the Christians. Why? Because they refuse to follow Muhammad. As simple as that. In fact, the stupid Christians, I say, at that time, they gave Muhammad refugee. In fact, the stupid Jews at that time, I have to say, they gave Muhammad refugee. Muhammad, he seek refugee twice in his life. Once to Ethiopia, and the Christian king, the stupid donkey Christian king, he welcomed him. And second time, he went to Yathrib, which is a city occupied by the Jews, built by the Jews, and those stupid Jews, they welcome him, and later he killed them all. So this is what happened when you invite a terrorist to your town. First, he kiss your shoes to take a visa. He kissed your ass to have papers. He crossed the sea to live there. And after you give him papers and etc., now he have rights. And now he starts spitting at you. Free food, free school, free etc. And you kuffar, this dirty, disgusting. Now let us go and see what the Quran says about the Jews. The Quran says the same about the Jews. The Jews says that Allah, he says that the Jews are the enemy of Islam until the day of judgment. And he spread hatred between them until that day. Chapter 5, verse number 64. But remember, the one who is an oxymoron is the one who spread hatred against the Jews. Here, not only they spread hatred against the Jews, Allah, he is saying he will spread hatred between the Jews. And for sure, Muslims have to hate the Jews and the Christians. In the same chapter, verse number 51, it says, take not Christians and Jews as friends. Do you see it? So the oxymoron is the one who teach fascism. What does that mean? That means Muslims can be friends to each other only. Why? Because they are the best nation in the world. Other nations are dirty, filthy scumbags. If we go in the hadith, which is nothing but the poo-poo of Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that the Muslim, they should bring anyone who is not a Muslim, like a dog, and put a chain around his neck. Why? Because Muslims are the best nation on the world. But remember, fascism and Nazism is an oxymoron. But isn't it this is what fascism believe? You are the best of people ever raised up for the benefit, between two brackets. You should look at this, for the benefit of mankind. I mean, can you beat that? See, the Muslims, they have a benefit for us. For the benefit of mankind. Guys, I see only 481. Honest to God. If we don't finish in the coming 10 minutes, and we have 1,000, I'm leaving. Shame on you. I designate my day, my life, to come here to do my best. $500 people? Is that because I'm spending my day every day with you? Shall I take a vacation for the coming month? They are busy with the chat. Nobody even care what I'm talking about. So let me disable the chat. Chit chat people. Where is the chat to disable it? Let me see. Now I will feel better. No chat. This is why Muslims, they can fool your kids, because most of you are a chit chat shit people. You come here only for entertainment. We continue. You are the best of the people ever raised up for the benefit of mankind. So Muslims, they are superior, Nazist, fascist, Hitler. They believe that they are the best nation. And now what does that mean? Maybe they will make some medicine for us. Maybe they will give it charity. This is how it means to be the benefit of for mankind. No. The best for mankind are those who bring them with a chain around their necks till they embrace Islam. Do you see it? And the purpose is noble. Is to save you to go to heaven. That's all. So this idiot, he is talking about how bad the Western culture, and he is the most evil, disgusting creature following the most disgusting hatred, Nazis, fascist, Mussolini, Prophet Muhammad. This filthy, he forgot that when Hitler was killing Jews, the one who fought Hitler was the Christians. Not a single Muslim fought Hitler. In fact, it is the opposite, as we showed you in the pictures. So those potatoes, they have a voice only if the listener is an idiot, uneducated, stupid, gullible. History is there. But who these days go and see and check history? People go to TikTok. How we can learn about Hitler? From TikTok. How we can learn about history of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from TikTok. Nobody read the books. Nobody see the books. Nobody want to understand the books. Because books is not what we are looking for. They praise Hitler. Now we continue. So the point number one about the oxymoron, it is you. Because, actually they ask him a question, about, because this guy keep talking against the West, against the West, against the West. And by the way, there's many things in the West I don't like. Me, myself. Who said everything in the West is, we have a lot of stupid people in the West, and the proof is you. Aren't you from the West? Aren't you donkey yourself from the West? This is the West. This potato, he went to the Middle East, he went to Egypt, he went to Dubai. Where the area you felt unsafe, it is there. Aren't you the one being arrested in Dubai? Why? How come nobody arresting you in USA? So he complained about the fascism. The fascism is there. If you don't agree with them, they kill you. And the only reason for you to be released is because you're an American. Your American passport, the Western passport, protected you. Otherwise, you will be in jail until the coming century if they did not kill you. So they complain about the West, but they die to get the passport of the West. Why you don't go and live between Taliban? Actually, they ask him such a question. Why you don't? Let us see the video. Why you don't go and live between Taliban? Maybe he have an answer. I guess he does. Let us see. I'm trying to find the video about Taliban. Give me a second. Here.
The catastrophe that
Here they ask him about Taliban. Why you don't go and live under Taliban? So, this guy, he have an answer for this. Very easy, simple. Let us see the answer. The answer is impressive. And you will notice that those people, they never answer a question. All of them, they share the same thing. All of them. So why you don't live under Taliban? I'm not going to play the whole video. You can watch it yourself. It says, why don't you go and live under oppressive Taliban? This is the title. So here the person, person, he will answer why. Did he answer? No.
That you unleashed on that country for 20 years is going to improve schools for girls in most of the. I mean, Western narratives are typically incredibly hostile towards context because propaganda is hostile towards context. Context undermines simplification. It shows a subject from too many angles, and narratives only want one angle to be shown. It's like that story about the blind men and the elephant, each one of them holding a different part of the elephant and describing a different animal, how they thought it looked. Mainstream discourse wants everyone to think that an elephant is the shape of a tree trunk or a snake. They never want you to see the full picture. So what we know from their own statements is that the Taliban has closed schools for girls in most of the provinces in Afghanistan. So when you already have the villain narrative in your head, something like this just serves as a confirmation that the Taliban is, oppressive and evil. Never mind that education in Afghanistan has been run under the auspices of American NGOs and American programs for the last 20 years. They're teaching a curriculum that many Americans themselves don't want in their schools. And because of that type of curriculum, many Americans take their kids out of schools and teach them at home instead. So it could be argued that the Taliban is not prohibiting education for girls, but miseducation for girls. They have said.
Here you see how, as I said, they never answer a question. They say to you, why you don't go and live in the Taliban? Who are you a girl now? Did they ask you to solve the problem of education in Afghanistan? They ask you why you don't go and live under Taliban. He dodged the question. He threw it under the table because the one is doing the interview, obviously taking his side. Shouldn't you want the interview? Listen, we ask you about why you don't go live there. What does this have to do with the question? What does this have to do with the question? Secondly, look what this donkey he said. He said the American, they are teaching their own books in Afghanistan. If you go right now and check what the stupid American they were doing, they were printing Quran to the stupid people of Afghanistan. They have mosque in the school. The teacher are Afghani. The minister of education is from Afghanistan. And this donkey, he is saying that, okay, well, they forbid the school, this is what they say to you for girls, but they don't tell you that the reason is, they were teaching the American books. Okay, who is holding you to have your books? He said, maybe now they are preparing to print new books. We will see.
That once they get the curriculum cleaned up, schools will open up again.
Ah, see? But this donkey, he forgot that it's forbidden for Taliban children to go to school if they are girls. This is long before American went there. Same time, Abdul, aren't you a Muslim and you have Sharia law and your education is ready? I thought you are an ancient civilization. What do you mean we need to prepare the books? What about bringing the books of Pakistan? Aren't they in Pakistan teaching the moral of Islam in Pakistan? Huh? Do you see how they dodge the question and how they run away from the embarrassment? Now, if you are a stupid person who don't see reality is that this is a very filthy society where women treated like dogs. Aisha, she said, teach them how to make clothing and jail them in their rooms. And what? And jail them in their rooms. But nobody can jail Aisha, by the way. Aisha, she was a whore. She used to decorate women to do prostitution for fun. So they bring her young youth to sleep with them. Now, we mentioned prostitution. So let us go to the second point. This guy, he mentioned prostitution too. Let me find the video. I mean, what a story. I don't know, the one who mentioned your name to me, it's not your lucky day. What an idiot. Let us see. Where is the video about prostitution? Maybe this one. Let us see.
To one degree or another, responsible for the coup in the first place.
Let us see. No, not this one. Hold on. This one have belly dancing of him. Maybe this one. Let us see.
Achieve and enforce, then it isn't a natural state, is it? If it was an obvious accepted fact to another man who's stronger than me, who's smarter than me, I'm not equal to him in strength, and I'm not.
I'm just trying to find the video, guys. Just hold on with me. Where is the video? Yeah, I saw his video, but I cannot find it right now. So let me search. I think it was in his Twitter. All right. Hold on. So here, this is a video of him speaking about slavery. About what? About slavery. One of the first things many Western think of as a proof of their moral credibility is the abolition of slavery, and Muslims feel awkward and blameworthy on this issue. This is the opposite of how both sides should feel. Let us hear. He have something to say. Can we listen? Let us go for it.
What's one of the big moral claims of the West? The abolition of slavery, right? They say, we abolish slavery while you Muslims still have slavery in your laws until today. Okay, let's be honest. In reality, there are more slaves today than there ever have been. Why? Because power in the US and Europe and elsewhere in the West, throughout the West, power never makes a decision for moral reasons, but only for financial reasons. Now, those financial reasons may coincide with moral reasons, but that's accidental. And that's the case with slavery. When the moral reasons coincide with the financial reasons, then that just gives you a moral rationale for what is actually a strictly financial decision. Make it look like you're altruistic, but nothing could be further from the truth. The Emancipation Proclamation took place during the Civil War, not before it. It didn't cause the Civil War. It was just an economic weapon by the North against the South during the war. That wasn't a morally driven decision, but it allowed them to package their cause as a moral one. And they've been packaging it like that ever since. Because the truth of the matter is, you didn't abolish slavery, you deregulated it. You know, some historians estimate that up to as much as 90% of the profits that were generated from slave labor ended up being spent on the slaves themselves on some plantations. Not all of them, but some.
You see,
Depending on their food, their shelter,
you notice here that the question is, the topic is slavery. Until now, he is saying what? Oh, you did not free slaves. Oh, you did not do this. You did not do this. Well, you see here the stupidity is beyond imagination. So, if you want to say that the capitalism is making people a slave, well, always there is somebody rich and somebody poor, and the poor work for the rich. Slavery is something different. Slavery is you being forced to work for somebody. You cannot even choose the job. You cannot even quit. You are born as a slave. Your mother is a slave. She gave birth to you. You are a slave too. So they dodged the question, and now he is saying, let us blame the West. So that based on what you said, you yourself, you are a slave. Because there is super powerful capitalists. They are forcing you to say what you are saying, and maybe you are working for them. Isn't it everybody is a slave today? So either we have a freedom of speech, which means we are not slave of anyone, because I cannot speak against my master. Are you speaking against the master now? So they run away from the question and they never answer you for what you are looking for. Let us see, maybe he will say something useful, because I remember I saw a video of him speaking about prostitution. I'm not sure if this is the one.
Their clothing, their medical care, and so on, because it was in the interest of slave owners to maintain a slave's physical well-being to one extent or another, because it was expensive to buy a slave. It was expensive to keep a slave, but you don't have to spend any of that money on a wage slave. You don't have to buy their food. You don't have to buy their clothing. You don't have to pay for their health care. You don't have to pay for their accommodation and so on.
Here you notice how he make you feel guilty. You don't need to buy him. He's giving him salary, you donkey. So now he is saying, because he's a Muslim, he feed his slave, that is better. But what do you feed him? You feed the food of a dog. Where he sleep? He sleep like a dog. Do he even choose where to sleep? Do he even choose when to sleep? Do he work 8 hours and go home? So the question is about slavery. And the answer is, you Western are the one who practices slavery until now. What about sex with the slave? What about beating the slave? What about having sex with the child of the slave? What about telling the children of the slave? What about, I mean, look how silly. This is the guy. I mean, the lady, she sent me his name. I'm not sure how she see that this person is having influence. I mean, this is an idiot. He don't make sense for 2 seconds in what he say. Then you have to be an idiot to consider what he say as something serious. If we ask him himself, okay, which one you prefer yourself? To be a slave of a Muslim, or working and you have your tie and your t-shirt clean? You must be a slave of the West too, because you live in the West. And as I know, you are born there too, right? So they have full control of you. Man, we have no life. In the same time, if we go to Mauritania, if we go to Niger, if we go to all Islamic, until now they have slaves in Saudi Arabia, slaves in Emirat, 6 slaves, not only slaves to be owned. So the question will never be answered. It's just a speech after a speech. Let me forward a little bit, because he will keep plugging the same
It
thing.
was a genius move. And then, of course, you went around the world on your so called moral crusade to abolish or to deregulate slavery everywhere, as if anyone in the world had been as savage as you in the practice of slavery.
Well, let us talk about savage as you. I challenge this Abdul to call me, if he dare, to see how Muhammad he treated his slaves. Shall we? Actually, you know what? Let me see. There is a video. I need to find it. I will search again. Hold on. I forgot really what was the name of the video. So I need to let me check. Maybe I can find it in my history of a browsing. Give me a second. See, without chat is better. People leave, even better. You know, I don't want them. They are coming here for chat. We want people who they are serious to stay. Chit chat people are not welcome. I don't want them. I don't care for them. Let us see history. History. All right, history. I'm just trying to find. Give me a second. Yeah, the history doesn't show me an individual link. What is this one here?
Supremacist, of course. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's not a thing wrong with that. You're a Western supremacist. You believe in the supremacy of your values. You believe in the supremacy of your belief system.
Let me see, I'm just trying to find which video is the one. Give me a minute, guys. Which one? The one is speaking of this topic. Maybe this one.
Slavery, Islam, and the West. The West actually had just derailed.
All right. I think maybe this is the one. So let us take this one away. And we go to this one. So listen carefully. Mr. Booz is going to explain to you what nobody can explain to you. And this is why he is a Muslim. Let me be sure that the video is coming clear. All right. Give me a second. All right. So now we will hear Mr. Shahid. By the way, your name is Shahid? You're still alive? Obviously, you do not know what Shahid means. Anyway, so tell us more. Tell us. Go ahead.
Regulated slavery. So someone commented, and I was waiting for this. I knew this was going to come. Talking about sex slavery, talking about concubinage.
Okay.
With obviously the implication that it's an immoral thing in Islam, and it shows the moral inferiority of Islam and the Islamic system. So I wanted to respond to that. So this man says, or asks, in Islam, can women be purchased in the markets, in the slave markets, for the purpose of serving as concubines? And the purchaser has the intention of taking her to his home, sleeping with her, treating her, as he has in quotes, humanely, meaning sarcastically, and then he has the intention to take her back in the market after, say, 15 months and selling her again. See, this is the type of comment that is absolutely perfect for illustrating the extent to which Westerners actually think that their concealment of reality, that their hypocrisy, that that's supposed to actually be somehow convincing to the rest of the world. The fact of the matter is that they can actually be in the gutter and claim the moral high ground. And they think that we're supposed to just believe them. And the tragic thing, because without this, it wouldn't be tragic, it would just be evil. But the tragic part about this is that there are actually many of them, many people in the West, who have such a devastating degree of cognitive dissonance that they themselves genuinely believe that the gutter is the moral high ground. That's how propagandized they are. That's how indoctrinated they are. The West created virtual reality goggles for their society long before they ever had the technology to do it. They just did it with propaganda. For anyone in the West to take a holier than thou position or attitude or tone with regards to the legality of concubinage in Islam is like someone who's covered head to toe in filth, expressing disgust at someone who doesn't use hand sanitizer. I'm telling you, you can only think that we are ugly because you've never looked in the mirror. So look at yourself, look at your societies. You have legal prostitution across Europe. So you think that what? 15 months of concubinage is immoral, but 15 minutes of sex for money is moral. Well, I mean, you legalized it, so you must think it's fine. 15 months as a concubine, or a year, or 3 years, or a lifetime as a concubine, with one man, with legislated rights and protections, with legislated privileges, versus 5, 10, 15, 20 different men a day with no rights. The extent to which Westerners actually think that their concealment of reality, that their hypocrisy, that that's supposed to actually be somehow convincing to the rest of the world. The fact of the matter is that they can actually be in the gutter and claim the moral high ground. And they think that we're supposed to just believe them. And the tragic thing, because without this, it wouldn't be tragic, it would just be evil. But the tragic part about this is that there are actually many of them, many people in the West, who have such a devastating degree of cognitive dissonance that they themselves genuinely believe that the gutter is the moral high ground. That's how propagandized they are. That's how indoctrinated they are. The West created virtual reality goggles for their society long before they ever had the technology to do it. They just did it with propaganda. For anyone in the West to take a holier than thou position or attitude or tone with regards to the legality of concubinage in Islam is like someone who's covered head to toe in filth, expressing disgust at someone who doesn't use hand sanitizer. I'm telling you, you can only think that we are ugly because you've never looked in the mirror. So look at yourself, look at your societies. You have legal prostitution across Europe. So you think that what? 15 months of concubinage is immoral, but 15 minutes of sex for money is moral. Well, I mean, you legalized.
Just to show you how filthy scumbag this person is. You do not know that in his Quran it's permitted to have pimp business in Islam. So now he is attacking the West for legalizing prostitution, which me myself I oppose as a Christian. However, some countries they do that. But isn't it already legalized in your religion 1400 years ago, you idiot? So he is saying, which one is better? Having sex with a slave owned by one man, or a woman she is having sex with a 20? But the difference is huge. First, the first woman, she is being forced to have sex with the man. The other woman, she decides to be a whore. And she got paid for it. The poor slave, she is being raped, excuse me, and she is just after that, she go clean the dishes, and she do laundry, and she clean the floor. At night, he come back, he F her again, and not only that, the Muslim, they share their slaves. There is something called isti'aratul furuj, which means an exchange of vagina. Exchange of vagina. So he is talking about how nice it is in Islam to be a slave and being effed. Yes, the Muslim man will if you. Which one is better? To be effed by 20 men or to be effed by one man? See? And the guy who asked him the question, so I can F the women and send her back to sell her after I F her, is saying what is better? If we go in the Quran, just to show you why we laugh at Islam and Muslims together, we will find this. The Quran says clearly, prostitution is legal, especially if women agree to do it. I will type the word prostitution. Bingo. Chapter 24, verse number 33. Force not your girls to do prostitution if they choose a chastity, and if you force them, Allah is all merciful. And this is telling you that this person, obviously, he is just interested in attention and political talk, but he never know his religion. Because if he knew his religion, he will never speak against prostitution and legalizing prostitution because it's legalized in the Quran. Listen carefully. I'm not making things up in front of you. Those are slaves. Force not your maids into slavery, into prostitution, if they desire chastity. So what is the condition? If they desire chastity, don't force them. However, if you force them, Allah is all merciful. And this is a story about a guy, his name is Ibn Salul. He have his slaves, he asked her to go sleep with men, and she get paid. Muhammad did not dare to say to him, stop. And he did not dare to make prostitution forbidden. Muhammad, he have to come with a solution because the wives, they start complaining. The husbands, they go sleep with those slaves and their money is gone. So Muhammad, he have to come with a solution. As usual, Jibreel is ready in the shelf. Hey, Jibreel, give me a solution. Muhammad, okay, you don't dare to fight with Ibn Salul, who is a very powerful person between the people, they follow you. You cannot even offend him. So I will give you a solution. Here we go. Allah gave me a verse, says, force not your mate for prostitution if they choose chastity. So if they choose a chastity, it's okay. If they don't, force them not. And if you force them, Allah is all merciful. So Muhammad, he did not do any solution because he is a hypocrite man. Instead, he legalized prostitution, and now any Muslim, he have a slave, he can make her do work for him by opening her legs. And you will notice not a single law in Islam says, if you force your slave into prostitution, you will be punished. Never. In fact, we can open the book of Musnad Malik, and you will see there's a book about slavery, the whole book, about how to touch her vagina, how to touch her legs, what is the consequence of a man he want to buy a woman by touching her belly or her stomach. Shall he buy it because he spoiled the product, or he should not buy it? Go and read. So this idiot, he is speaking about which one is better instead of saying both are ugly. You know what I mean? And instead of saying both is ugly, he is saying which one is better. Do you see how awkward those potatoes donkeys are? And then the supporter of such a speech, because he isn't awkward like this guy, he is low IQ, he said, wow, that's a great answer. Which one is better, huh? Legalizing prostitution or one man effing this poor slave? For sure, one man. If you notice that women who work for Andrew Tate, they made a lot of money. A lot of money. He got rich too. But women who work for a Muslim as a slave, they get effed and get no paid. So they have no future. They will live, they will die as slaves. The man can exchange them. The man can sell them. The man can rent them. In fact, we know all of us that Muslim, they have something called muta. Muta is nothing but a rental where a man, he can rent a woman. Now this guy, he will say to you, this is Shia. In fact, this have nothing to do with Shia, neither Sunni. This is Islamic teaching. It's in the Quran. If you search for rental in this page here, you will see right away that the Muslims agree that muta is nothing but form of rental where a man, he rent a woman for the purpose of using his vagina, her vagina. This is the story of Harut and Marut. Hold on. Harut and Marut. So do you see, they school you about morality and which one is better. This guy, he just keep talking against the West, against the West. But if he cannot live outside the West for a minute, they will arrest him, they will torture him, they will kill him if he live in the Middle East. Because simply his mouth is always open, he keep talking. You cannot do that in the Middle East. So one of the privileges you have, you idiot, in the West, that you can speak against the West. In Islamic countries, do you even dare to speak against your ruler? We will go there. Here you will see, this is the rule of the muta. In some work, special term applied to women who participate in the muta. Musta'jara. Musta'jara in Arabic means rental. Or rented women. Alright? So, he was speaking about prostitution when Islam simply legalized prostitution and give it a different name. Those are not slaves. Those are free women. They are free women. They are white Arab women. And they are practicing prostitution by renting their vagina to the man to F them. In some work, special term applied to women who participate in muta musta'jara or rented women. Muta is considered as a kind of rental because general man's basic aim is this in this kind of marriage. They call it marriage. You see, this is marriage. Is sexual enjoyment of a woman, and in return of his. Thank you all for being here. May the Lord bless you. Until we see you soon again. God is good. So is Jesus. Amen to that. See you soon.